Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 1 of my Let's Play series. You have joined Episode 5, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I have been doing a little work between episodes. I've been prettying up the area a little bit. I've given my main little survival hut a bit of an entrance, a little bit more defined, a little easier to see. I've also done a little bit of work on the smeltery. I've raised it up one level. I do plan on raising it up another level during this episode, mainly because I wanted to show you guys how simple it can be now that we have a functioning smeltery. Believe it or not, we don't actually have to make grout anymore. And I do have a little bit of cobblestone on me, so I'll be able to show you exactly what I'm talking about. You may also notice that I've moved the smeltery controller more into the center of my smeltery, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I've actually got a special treat for how to automate this part of the smeltery. I'm going to be able to automate it in a way that I normally am not able to until much later in the game. However, if you remember in one of the chests in the village, that we raided towards the beginning of the series, there was an ingot in there. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But first, let me show you how you can get some more seared bricks. We're going to take this cobblestone and we're going to put it right into the smeltery. And this stuff is going to smelt up into some seared stone. And we'll be able to see that here in just a moment. It does take just a minute for that to smelt up. In the meantime, some of you may have noticed this weird-looking little item in my inventory. It is an ender lily. I was clearing away a lot of this extra grass that's just hanging around my base. I kind of like to have a clean little base, so I usually clean this stuff out of the way. And while I was clearing the grass away, one of them was kind enough to drop an ender lily for me. Ender lilies are awesome. They do grow a little slow at first. We're going to have to make a trip to a place called the End. And then we will be able to grow them a little bit faster. And that's kind of strange. I must have had two. I somehow picked up two. Crazy. I did not notice that I had two. That is going to be really nice. That was a nice treat for me. I didn't notice there were two there. Anyway, let's check on our stone. It looks like it's already smelting. And you can see there's some seared stone in there. And when I pour it into the ingot cast, it turns into these seared bricks. Fantastic. That is exactly what we need. I'm also going to want to make just a little bit more glass, and I'll show you why. Because I've been thinking about it, and there is another type of block we can use with our smeltery. And it's a block I normally like to use. It is a... see, I don't want to give you guys the wrong information here. So I believe it is seared glass. Let's see, that's a seared gauge, seared window, seared glass. And we're going to make that, you can use any kind of glass and 4 bricks, and we're going to get this lovely seared glass. So I want to make sure I've got enough here. So I believe I'm going to need, what, 12? I need a total of 12 blocks to do what I think I want to do here. So I'm going to need 12 pieces of sand. And it looks like I have 15, so it should be good. I should be able to smelt that right up. And I've got a little bit of residual. We'll go ahead and split that so we're not waiting forever. Some of you may have noticed I've added a few more chests. I've got a chest for my tools that I'm not really using right now. I've got a chest that's just going to hold my books and manuals. And then I've got a chest for, this is going to be a mob drop chest. I got a skeleton skull. Stuff that mobs drop that don't really fit in with my sorting scheme right now is probably going to end up in there. Mobs drop a lot of different stuff. They drop arrows, they drop feathers, they do drop the spider eyes. But I use a lot of that stuff for crafting. So it's going to go in my crafting chest. These heads and other types of mod drops that I'm not really going to be using for a while, that's what this chest is going to be for. And you may have noticed I've got a weird little contraption going over here. As I've said before, I am a huge fan of automating. And basically what I've done is I've automated a furnace. I can put stuff in this hopper. Let's see if I have anything that can go in there. Doesn't look like it. I've gone ahead and looks like I've cooked up a bunch of stuff already. That's all right. We'll still be able to get a basic idea of how it works. I guess I can demonstrate it with this cobblestone. We'll just pretend it's food. It's going to go into the hopper. The hopper is going to push it into the furnace, and then when it finishes cooking, this hopper is going to drop any cooked item into this chest. And see, here comes stone. That's what you get when you cook up cobblestone in a furnace. You get some lovely smooth stone. Smooth stone is incredibly useful. I'll be able to demonstrate that actually right away. I've got, I believe, a little bit more smooth stone. I need one more piece to demonstrate what I wanted. And I'm also going to make another crafting station here. This is just, for me, this is a pretty standard setup. I like being able to have crafting access to my food chest, and I'll show you why here really quickly. Now I'm going to make a really useful item. We're going to need a pressure plate. You'll see why I have that extra stone here in just a second. Now that we've made a pressure plate, I'm going to put that directly under the cooked stone, and we're going to get a juicer. And the great thing about a juicer is I'm going to take some of these carrots to demonstrate, just like this, one carrot here, one carrot there, and you can do multiple at a time. And I'm going to shift left click to take that out of there, and now I've got some carrot juice. And this stuff is great. Not only is it going to feed me, it's going to give me a little bit of a speed boost. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. It might make the difference if I'm trying to run away from say a skeleton that's shooting arrows at me. Just a little bit of help. But this right here is a pretty standard setup for me. And I think I'm going to go ahead and place some torches up here. Normally I would have a torch right here. I'll probably end up redesigning this a little bit so it fits in a little better with how I like to design things. But this is going to work for now. Just a little bit of automation, little cheap automation at the beginning. But let's take a little nap. We don't want any creepers sneaking up on us. They won't damage the terrain anymore thanks to the chunk cleaning. However, they still can cause you quite a bit of damage. The other thing you may have noticed is I've gone ahead and put in some glass so I can see outside. And I did go ahead and replace this door with an oak door so I can see outside. And I went ahead and placed a door down here to my mine because occasionally, it doesn't happen often, but I have had mobs wander up the stairs. So I like just having a little last line of defense to make sure they don't wander right into my survival hut. So now we should be able to pull out a bunch of our seared stone. And we're going to come right back over here. And hopefully our glass is finished cooking up. It has. And I'm going to come right over here to a crafting table. And this is one of my favorite things about modded Minecraft. You really don't get a chance to do this a whole lot in Minecraft. I know in the 1.12 version they've kind of changed this, and you can do this to some extent. They have a way to do this kind of stuff now. But basically, I'm going to hold down Shift, and when I hold this, or when I click this plus button, it's going to move every available crafting piece I need into the crafting station to make as many of these as it can. Otherwise, it's just going to do it one at a time. So I'm basically going to tear down just a little bit of this smeltery. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. I'm going to leave the drains right where they are. I've gone ahead and moved those up, so now everything is at my ground level. I don't have to jump down there anymore to get stuff. And I'm basically going to clear away from the sides, just a couple of bricks, and I'm going to replace those with seared glass. And I'm going to do the same thing right here. Oops, that was a little too far. Unlike regular glass, these are not going to break into shards. Those are going to break just like any other block you'd be used to. And now, what I'm going to do, oh, I almost forgot to put one there. I can work on raising this up a little bit more. Let's see, how do I want to get up there? Do I have any blocks with me? I don't. Well, I'll just do a little piece of dirt over here. There we go. Now this will not add another level to the smeltery. If you look in the smeltery, you can see that I've got the same amount of inventory spots that I had before, which looks like 18. So what I'm going to need to do is, I have a couple of options. I could use the rest of this seared glass to polish it off. But I really don't want to do that. I kind of like having the glass in the center, and I like having the seared bricks at the top. I just think it kind of looks prettier that way. So I'm going to pop in a little bit more. Let's just pop in what it'll take. It'll take 18, so let's just pop in 18 more. And I've slowly been kind of popping stuff over here into my crate that I'm going to be using for crafting. And I kind of tried to pretty this up a little bit too. A little later in the series, I may come back and move all this stuff. I may use another mod called Chisel. Don't confuse Chisel with Chisel and Bits. They are two separate mods. Chisels whole blocks at once. And while we're waiting for some of that stuff to smelt up, I'm going to take some of this iron, and I think I had some sticks in here, and I'll go ahead and make a chisel, just so I can demonstrate how the chisel works. I like having the chisel. So that's a chisel, a stick and an iron ingot diagonal from each other, just like that. And you can actually make one of these in your own personal inventory also. But now I have a chisel, and if you place your block in there, this will chisel lots of different blocks. You can actually chisel the seared bricks if you want, or I thought you could. I might need to do that in a crafting table. Wow, I thought I could chisel those. But you can chisel lots of different blocks. You can chisel andesite, you can chisel marble. There's a bunch of different ones you can chisel. But you can see all the different options you have. I mean, there's a ton of this stuff that you can chisel. I'm not quite ready to start up with the chiseling yet. I've got a few more things that I think are a little more important than trying to make things look super pretty right now. But that's okay. Chiseling is on the list of things that we'll probably get to. Let's see. Oh, I didn't turn that on. There we go. I also made another redstone clock, and now the basin side is fully automated. Put stuff in the smeltery, it smelts down, flip your switch, and then it will pour into the basin, and there is a hopper down here now that will pump the stuff straight out of the basin into the chest. This is going to become extremely useful, maybe not in this episode, but probably the next episode we're going to demonstrate how this works, and you'll see exactly why that is so useful. Let's see what we got here. We only need a few more blocks, so let's go ahead and turn these into some seared bricks. That's going to give me 4 of them. That's almost enough. I think I'll only need 1 more after that. Oh, that should have done it. All right. Now we have a 3x3x3 smeltery, and you can see now how that increased the number of things I can put into the smeltery at once. So now, basically this is it. I could, if I wanted to, continue to raise this. I don't know if there's a limit to how far you can raise it up. I've raised it up ridiculously high in some of my previous worlds just for fun. But honestly, for the kind of processing that we're going to be doing, I have never needed a smeltery bigger than this. So I'm pretty much done with this build. I'm going to call this smeltery complete for now, with one exception. We are going to automate the last little bit of it, and that is going to need this little bit of pulsating iron. So let's look into what I need to craft with the pulsating iron. And one of the ways you can do this is if we hover over the item, we can hit the letter U, and that's going to bring up the uses of the item. See here. And what we're going to want to do actually is turn this into some pulsating iron nuggets. So let's do that. And now let's hit the letter U again and see what this is used for. Item conduits from Ender.io. Item conduits are going to be our best friend as far as being able to transfer items from one place to another. Usually I can't get into this a little later in the game, mainly because it requires an ender pearl. So if we look at the pulsating iron again, this time we're going to hit the letter R, and that's going to show us the recipes. And if you look at the alloy smelter here, which is normally how I get the pulsating iron ingot, you can see that we'd need an iron ingot and an ender pearl. Now the ender pearl, most of you that have played vanilla Minecraft know that the only way to really get ender pearls most of the time is from killing an enderman. Now I did find, like I said, these ender lilies, and these are eventually going to yield ender pearls, but as you can see they are not anywhere near grown, and it will be quite some time before we can actually start harvesting ender pearls from those. Now if we come back here and we look at the uses again for the pulsating iron nugget, you can see that we're going to need this conduit binder. And the conduit binder is made from binder composite in a smelter, some kind of smelting device like a furnace, or you could use an alloy smelter if you have one. And boy, doesn't this recipe look fairly familiar. We're going to need some clay, gravel, and sand. So let's see, I've got a little bit of clay on hand. Do I have any more? Is that grout? Oh. And let's see, we're going to need a little bit of gravel and some sand. So again, let's the quick way to do this is let's look at the uses and binder composite. So let's, it says we're missing some gravel. So let's get a little bit more gravel, and we'll try that again. There we go. Now we've got our binder composite. And I don't really need that part of it automated, so we'll just go ahead and cook that in one of our non-automated furnaces, which is perfectly fine. And, you know, we could speed this up a little bit if we divide that up. Basically, I think we're going to need 6 of these. Each one of these, I believe, yields 2. If I'm right about that, yes. So let's see here. We've got 2, and we've got our 6. So let's come back over to the crafting table, and let's look at those uses again. And I believe I have just enough of that to make a small set of item conduits. We're also going to want a chest. Let's see, I don't have any more wood planks. I have no wood, no wood planks. And wow, I don't even have a hatchet, so let's get us a hatchet real quick. Now, the hatchet is usually one of the last tools I make with using the tinker tools. Let's take a little nap. Getting darkness is a little scary out there. All right. Had a little nap. I also did manage to find some oak wood. I think we talked about that a little bit. So I did end up planting a little oak tree farm. And as you can see, these oak trees generally don't get near as big as the spruce, so they're a little easier to manage. I do like how the spruce looks. We're probably not done with the spruce. I'm sure we'll see some things being made with spruce later on. But for most items that I make, the oak wood is going to do just fine. And like I said, it is a little easier to manage, so that's what we're going to do our tree farms with. We'll just clear this out real quick. And you guys will see, making a hatchet is on my to-do list. And we will demonstrate, for those who have never used the tinker tools before, how much faster and how much more resilient they really are. I like to do my trees about 2 apart. You can go through, you probably could get away with just doing them 1 apart. But me personally, I think this is good. I like having them 2 blocks apart. So we got a little bit of wood now. And we can put the rest of these saplings up. We can put the rest of this stuff up. We're not going to need that for a little bit. Purposely trying to save these apples. I've got a special little fun treat in there. We need 1 more apple, and then I'll be able to show you the special stuff we can do with that. So we need to make a chest. Oh, I did have a little bit of wood out here after all. That's all right. We'll try to remember to put some of that back inside. We only need 1 chest for this. Now this part can get a little tricky. It won't be too bad. I'm just going to dig down here a little bit to make sure I can access the parts I want to access. And I'm a little bit of a stickler. I want my chest facing frontwards like that, so I came back up there to place the chest. It doesn't really matter which way you place the chest. And again, we're going to run into this situation where I want this to connect with the chest and with the smeltery controller up here. But if I try to place it straight on the chest, you can see it's going to open the chest. We could shift click and place it there, and that'll work just fine. But the nice thing about these Ender IO conduits is they are really smart. So I can actually just target this block, and it's going to connect to available sources. So what I want to do is if you look at my Wayla up here, you'll see that it's showing me conduit connector, and that's what I want to make sure it is. You don't want to be on the part where it says item conduit. You actually want it to be on the conduit connector part. And we're going to set this to extract, redstone mode, always active. There's couple of modes, active with signal. Active without signal would also work, but always active seems to work just fine for me. And then we want to do the same thing up here at the top, except we want to make sure that once the conduit connector is in our target, then we want to put that on insert. I can replace this stuff now. And now I've been saving some of my resources that I've collected just for this, so I can show you guys how this will work. I found some silver, which is one of the first things I actually want to smelt up. We're going to do the killing of 2 birds with 1 stone here. We're going to bring back our wide guard pattern. We're going to need a little bit of cobblestone for that, and I think I smuggled some over here, which I did. Can't remember if we need 1 or 2 pieces. I think we only need 1. Nope, 2. Okay. Oh, it is 1. Excellent. I'm going to use my gold. We will find more gold, don't worry about that. And now, instead of accessing the smeltery controller, I'm going to just dump the gold in here. And you can see that it was automatically transported into the smeltery. So that's going to smelt up. And I don't want that on yet. I'm going to remove our ingot cast, and I'm going to place our stone wide guard down. So we got to see how the chest works. You can just load this up, by the way. You can completely load that up. You do want to be careful about what you load it up with, because, for instance, if you put copper and tin in there at the same time, you're going to end up with bronze. So if you don't want to end up with bronze, make sure that you're smelting your tin and copper separately. Because remember, the smeltery will just automatically mix things if they can be mixed. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a permanent wide guard a cast here. And then we're going to place our silver in there. Silver and gold, I think, also mix. I don't remember what they turn into, but I think they do mix. I think I've had a problem with that in the past. I'll show you why I want to make a new wide guard pattern out of silver as soon as this stuff finishes smelting, which silver doesn't take too long. And when I'm making my tinker parts, I generally don't use the redstone clock, because if I did, it's going to continue pouring the rest of that silver in there, and I don't want a bunch of silver wide guards. I'd much rather just have silver ingots. So now I'm going to come back over here to my tinker station, my tool station, and I'm going to show you one of the cool things that you can do with your tinker tools. I'm going to place my Darth broadsword in the middle, and I'm going to replace that copper wide guard with a silver wide guard. And if you've noticed, I now have fractured, dense, and holy, as opposed to fractured, dense, and well-established, which is the well-established is what that copper is giving us. Now, I like extra XP as much as the next guy. However, if we look at what this does, we may need to go and look back at our materials in U-Book, which, if you remember, is over here now. Let's take a quick peek at that. Now we're going to look at the tool materials, and let's see if we can find silver. Here it is, silver. As the extra, holy, deals bonus damage to undead enemies. Undead, for those of you that don't know, are going to be things like zombies, skeletons, husks, several other undead creatures. Creatures we might run into in the nether, which we'll probably be heading to sooner rather than later, possibly in the next episode. But I just wanted to demonstrate that to you. Your tinker tools, you can upgrade them. Can put different parts on them. If I wanted to later, I could totally replace that blade. I can totally replace the handle. I can totally replace that guard again if I want to. I love tinker tools. They make it so easy to upgrade. They're useful, incredibly useful. Way better than vanilla tools in my opinion. And you know, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this stone axe up because I have a feeling that in the next episode you're going to start seeing me use a tinker's axe, because I have a feeling that chopping wood is going to be in my very near future. So let's do a little bit of a recap. We have completed the automation of our tinker's smeltery. We have prettied up most of our immediate base area. We still have some things to work on, but we have a renewable tree farm. We still have our rubber tree farm, which I did come over and do a little maintenance on. We cleared off all the leaves to give us easier access to these little nubules, which, by the way, you actually can right-click on these and collect them. However, I would prefer to wait until we can make an item called a tree tap. I don't think there's any nebules on this one, so we'll end up tearing this one down. Yeah, we'll tear that one down and try to get some more saplings and plant another one. Because basically a rubber tree that doesn't have those nebules on it is basically worthless. Pretty much. But I think that has put us in a pretty good spot. I think that is, in fact, going to wrap up episode 5. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, take care.